Happy Monday, everybody, and a somber, I guess, slash happy Memorial Day to all of you guys today. I wanted to just come on here and just make myself available this morning to answer. Where am I looking at here? I got my new camera set up. Any questions you guys have about sync licensing? I know we have quite a few new subscribers to the channel as a result of that Udio video I put out. And just generally, maybe some of you have only been on the channel for the last, I don't know, couple of weeks or maybe even months. And every so often, I like to do these kind of just open Q&A sessions just to maybe answer any particular questions or points of confusion you might have about sync licensing. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. There's a lot of myths that people believe about this side of the business, as is probably the case with every side of the music industry. And it's not rocket science. It's not incredibly difficult to understand how to do well in this business. The concept of how to serve a marketplace with marketable, licensable music, a fifth grader could understand. I mean, let's talk about it like a first grader could understand. It's pretty easy, actually. Not easy to do, not simple to do, and certainly not easy to succeed in this industry and to stay in this business long enough to start seeing results that you can count on. And so part of one of the services or values that I want to bring to this space is to keep it 100% real with you guys about what your chances are, what's within your control, what's not in your control, what helps. It seems to be what's helping some of our students really thrive and do well in this business. What seems to be some of the mistakes I've seen along the way from many producers and composers that are not seeing results. It's kind of a big investment of time if you really want to do this to turn it into significant income, whether that's going to be part-time or full-time. And I hate hearing those stories of people that have committed like 5+ years to this business and they've made, the total of a couple of grand, sometimes not even that. And, I really don't want to get those emails in the future. I really hate getting them, but I'm glad people trust me with that and they, let me know that things aren't really working out. But I hope those of you that are maybe brand new to sync can use me as a resource, use a Q&A session like this as a resource or my entire channel as a resource to try to steer you away from any of the sort of mistakes that we've all made, myself included. I've made many of them. Even though we can't control 100%, obviously, of our success in this industry, a lot of it has to do with consistency, showing up, being at the right place at the right time, having great relationships, having great music, all that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of things that we can do to stack up the odds in our favor. At least we can do things to not be our own worst enemy, right? We can do things that'll get ourselves out of our own way and allow us to really thrive and to partner with the right people and to put out the best possible music that we can. So that's really what this is all about. This is really your time. This is your session. This is anything that you want to learn about or think about. Please do feel free to post it in the chat. And while I'm waiting for some of you guys to post some of your questions, this Saturday, it's kind of crazy how quickly we are already there, but this Saturday, June 1st, is our Sync Up event. It is our second annual event. We've actually done just one before last year. And it was one of these things where when I first did it, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it twice. So I didn't make any promises last year. But as last year's event was so successful and really, really awesome and empowering for a lot of you guys, I said, you know what? We got to do this again. For me, just selfishly, I had such a fun time. It was just a really, really fun, enjoyable event. And I think that's something that I'd like to just kind of keep going on for as long as we possibly can. I don't think there's a reason to just do it once and never do it again. Sorry, this is a real last minute editing job. I'm putting this together for you guys. But I just want to give you guys a quick pitch for that. If you do want to join us, it is going to be this Saturday, as I said before, June 1st and 2nd. It'll be a Saturday and Sunday, a weekend event. And it's going to be, and Mike Genato's here. Mike is in the chat right now. He's actually a gentleman you're going to see right on your page, on your stream here in just a second. Sorry, I'm getting confused on where I have two new monitors here, and one of them is not where it usually is, so I'm getting a little bit backwards here. But as you can see, Mike's right there. Mike will be there in person the entire weekend. He's actually says he's going to be there Saturday and Sunday, start to finish. And Mike, obviously with Reverse Play, he's a music editor. He's got work with Netflix, very, very intricately involved in various parts of this business. So he's just one person you're going to get to hear from directly and get to connect with and learn a little bit more about what's happening in the industry, what the new trends are, what libraries libraries like people like him are looking for. He's actually going to be with the first guest presenter on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. talking about his experience as a music editor. Music editors are kind of these magical unknown people in our industry that usually make or break most of our placements, right? Everybody's thinking about supervisors, everybody's thinking about, big time movie directors and that kind of thing. But it's really a lot of times music editors are the ones that basically sit there with a catalog of tracks and they decide who gets to get placed. So this is going to be definitely one of those things where, Mike's going to give us the secret sauce about his work, the gigs that he's done, what tracks seem to work better for some of the opportunities and the projects he's worked on, what tracks usually don't work. Maybe there's been situations where he found a great track, but there was something missing, metadata, something that just prevented that track from getting on there. Also just sonically, maybe a track was mixed a particular way. There were certain elements or certain alt mixes that weren't available. So I think we really also need to not just think about music libraries and supervisors, but also think about the actual, the people that are really making these decisions at the final moment before the, film, the video, the episode, whatever it is, the promo goes to air. A lot of times, there's going to be a final approval on it, but most of the time, especially for like reality TV shows and a lot of content that requires hundreds and hundreds of tracks in an episode, usually it's just the editor making that choice. Like there isn't this big oversight process. It's just an editor going like, yeah, that EDM track works. I'll put that behind there, right? So that's going to be just number one. The first presentation, I think, will be extremely valuable. So Mike's saying, because once I put it in a cut, not doing extra work to take it out. Exactly. Yeah. And most editors, this is not just a dig at Mike, but this is all editors, myself included. We're all kind of lazy, right? We don't want to go searching, an hour to find one track to do a background instrumental cue. Like nobody's taking that kind of time to do this stuff. So we want to find something quick, easy, fast. And also once we find something that really works for a particular type of content that maybe we have to edit multiple versions of or multiple episodes of, you better leave people like Mike have a short list. They have a playlist. They have the sort of favorites that they just go back to over and over again. I've seen this with my royalties, is that you'll actually see people that use your tracks hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's not that they're independently going back to a catalog and, coincidentally finding your track again. You're on a short list, right? And once your tracks are on a short list because you've created something licensable and very valuable for them, you just save them a lot of time and effort and energy. And so they love you. They might not even know your name or even know anything about you, but they know that the track that you created is making their lives a lot easier. So that's how you'll see your exponential placement start to roll up. So Mike being there is going to be an amazing, he's also going to represent himself as a, basically kind of a catalog / sync agent. So he's going to be wearing a couple of different hats. So that's going to be great. So obviously, as you can see here, making connections with people like Mike and other library CEOs that are basically the decision makers in our industry. That's the number one benefit of SyncUp and why you might want to consider joining us. And the link is in the description box. It was funny. I knew we would get some last minute purchases of the tickets. And sure enough, this weekend, we got quite a few that were coming in and people going, I missed out. Is it already done? Can I still get it? And it's like, yeah, you got here right in time. But as you see here, we only have 17 in-person tickets left. So they're definitely going. And we might get quite of them purchased today or tomorrow because people are probably now thinking, that fear of missing out on a pretty big opportunity to connect and license or to make some personal direct connections with people like Mike and other CEOs, which we'll talk about here in just a second. That's definitely what's on the table here. So hopefully some of you guys can join us. You can also stream it. There's a streaming option if you can't make it in person, totally available. But the in-person experience, I can guarantee you, will be the richer experience. You're going to get so much more value being there in person, shaking people's hands. Having a coffee with these people and sitting down and having lunch with them. It is going to be something that can absolutely open the door for many valuable direct relationships, which we've actually done for sure with this opportunity. We're going to talk about the latest trends. You guys know we've been talking about this 2-letter thing that's been happening in the world, that's been taking over the entire world and all of our brains. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about with library CEOs and owners, what do they think about it? Are they concerned about it? How are they going to be adjusting? What are their policies in terms of should we be using some of these tools to generate some of our music, and what are their policies on all that, and what are they thinking about it? So this is going to be cutting edge stuff where we're basically going to be on the ground with people who are working in the industry day in and day out, and learning about what's working and not working. You can get in-person feedback from Mike. Mike will be one of the people you can get in-person feedback from. Trevor is another one. I'll show you and AJ, I'll show you their companies in just a second. But this is the first time we've ever done this, where you can literally sit in a room, a private room, with a library owner and play them one of your tracks. And they'll sit there right in front of you, face to face, telling you what worked about your track, what can be improved. If they love it, they can sign you right there. They can basically offer you a deal right on the spot and say, hey, love this. We want to work with you. So I anticipate we'll probably have a couple of those deals happen as well. So this is kind of one of those things. You're not going to find this anywhere else, guys. This is just one of those like once in a career kind of opportunities to get yourself in front of the right people, in person. I think this is going to be a really valuable thing for some of you guys. If you do come in person, you get to have a guaranteed pitch of your music to any one of the library CEOs with a guarantee that they will listen to it. I have contracted each one of these CEOs. I'll show you in a second. So they absolutely will listen. They have to decide if they want to bring you on board. If they do, your email and your phone number go right alongside with your submission. So you get to directly connect with them. I'm not in the middle of any of that kind of stuff. If they love it, they have every right to reach out to you and work directly with you. We had some members actually do that very thing last year. You can also get this benefit with your virtual ticket, but you do need to upgrade your virtual ticket to the plus option, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. And as it was, same place we had it last year for those of you that came last year and are coming again, it's going to be at a hotel very close to the LAX airport in Los Angeles. And if you are getting an in-person ticket, you'll find out specifics of that. Really classy, nice, very close hotel to the airport. But I don't make that just publicly available. You got to get a ticket to learn that, okay? So these are the speakers. Obviously, yours truly, Mike, as we just talked about before. Perry of Epic Music. If you guys don't know Perry, he was there last year. He is the gentleman in the library that I've personally worked with and who I secured that Major League Baseball Network theme placement, the biggest placement of my entire career. He's going to be there, and we're going to be sharing the insights of that gig, how we did it. And we're still going to get the final confirmation that we can share some of the assets, but I'd like to show you guys our rough first draft all the way up to the final one that made it to air. It's kind of an interesting evolution and all the various pitches that we made. It wasn't the first track that I wrote and produced that got us there. We had to do a couple of revisions. So I think there's some great insights for you guys to learn if you ever get an opportunity like that, maybe even through Perry. If you want to submit your music to Perry as a result of your Sync Up ticket, he's absolutely somebody you can submit to. Trevor, as you guys know, he's been on this channel many times, been a big staple of our community with Get It Done Music. Obviously, he's somebody that you're going to want to learn. He's actually going to give a presentation on how to start your own library. And with a lot of these tools today, new tools, it's a lot easier and better and faster than you ever could do it. And Trevor is actually going to be giving a presentation to help you guys become his competitor. So he's actually giving you a very juicy, kind of spicy presentation, which will actually basically create more competition for himself. But he's nonetheless agreed to come and give this presentation. So some of you guys have been flirting with that idea, thinking about it, maybe even getting together with other composers and creating your own catalog to start pitching. If you want to learn the insights from somebody who's successfully done that, not too far in the distant past, you're going to get that front row seat right there. AJ of Future Hits, of course, if you guys know AJ, he's been on my channel as well. He is the one that's going to give us a world-class presentation on how to create a sync hit song with vocals and lyrics. As I've been telling you guys for the last year, you're going to need to start taking that stuff seriously if you want to get more and more placements. We got to put ourselves more in the premium organic section. And AJ has 13 Emmys, I think. So he knows what he's doing. He's done some great work in this industry. So he's going to be somebody that you can definitely learn a lot from. So I'm excited personally also as somebody who's writing my own music. I really am looking forward to that panel. And he's going to play some examples from his catalog of high quality licensable sync tracks that we can all model and listen to. He's also somebody you can get feedback from as a result of upgrading your ticket if you want to. Directly, like literally in the room with him privately playing your music for him if you'd like to. Timo of Sound Adventures, he's been a newer CEO that I've gotten to know in the last year as a result of our Sync Connect service, and he's got some amazing placements and opportunities he's going to tell us about. Duddy, who is the executive producer over at Audio Socket, he's basically their head chief composer producer, so he's sort of the lead over there, and Audio Socket has done amazing work. You guys know all about them, hopefully, so he's going to be somebody that can clue us in not only into how he's really thrived and done well as a sync licensing producer composer, but also what is Audio Socket really focusing on? What are they looking for? So you get sort of a double whammy there. And Eric of Sonic Librarian is another CEO that I've gotten to know recently as a result of our Sync Connect session. So he's going to be a great asset for you guys to connect with as well. If you click on the link in the description box right now or after the stream, all of these are hyperlinked. So you can actually click on each one of these. You can learn more about the companies, what their placements are, what their history is, all that kind of stuff. So I highly encourage you guys to do that. Know kind of who you're getting involved with, who you're potentially going to be networking with before you get your ticket. Highly encouraged. And then we're going to have some successful sync licensing producers and composers give some presentations as well. Papstar has an amazing story about how sync licensing basically saved his life. I won't spoil all the details for that. He'll tell us it's going to be probably a tear-jerking presentation, so get ready for that on Sunday. Hans has been us for many years. You guys have probably seen him on this channel. He's obviously a big contributing member of Sync Academy, and he's one of our reviewers at Pro Feedback. He's going to give us a great presentation on keeping it real between being an artist and an artisan, meaning like having your creative spirit keeping it intact while we're also being of service and of use to a commercial marketplace. That sometimes rubs up against each other and causes us to want to burn out over and over again. I certainly had that happen in my career. Hans has as well, and he's got some great insights and stories to share with us with his experience. Anthony is this student of mine that has been killing it. He's clearing over $20,000 a year within the first couple of years of getting into his sync licensing career. Way better than I ever did. I was making maybe a couple of grand after a couple of years. So I'm going to be picking his brain. I think you guys are going to want to pick his brain too in terms of how he did what he's doing, who he's partnered with, what kind of music he's making, what his sort of tips would be, anything he can give us in terms of how he's really thriving in this business so quickly. I think it's going to be helpful. And Yele, obviously, Yele is oftentimes in our chat room. I don't know if he's here today, but Yele is obviously a very accomplished sync licensing producer who came from nowhere. He came from his home studio in the Netherlands, not having a single relationship built, not having anything, no notoriety, nothing like that. And now he's working with the largest publishers in our industry, even being flown out to have orchestras compose and perform and record his compositions. So again, a very, very successful TV sync licensing producer. So we're going to be really excited to have him on board. Anyways, we've got some success stories. People have actually created their own direct relationships as a result of it, including our virtual ticket options. We do have our whole schedule there on the link below. You can go check it out. I won't go through all of that. And as I said before, we've got 15 in-person tickets left, and we only have 2 of the premium options ones if you wanted to do that. And of course, you can stream it virtually as well. Here's the deal right now. So you can actually get a pretty nice discount if you buy 2 tickets. So 1 ticket, the basic ticket option is $4.99. If you can bring a girlfriend, a wife, a musician partner, a producer friend, something like that, wrangle somebody to come with you for the weekend, your tickets are basically $300 a pop. So you can actually save quite a bit if you bring a buddy. Same thing goes for the premium, but there's only 2 of those left. So basically whoever grabs the last 2 tickets here, that's pretty much the end of it. So you basically save, I don't know what that is, like $600 basically if you buy 2. And the biggest benefit with your premium ticket is that you get to go to that private dinner with all the library CEOs and myself Saturday night at 6 p.m. So you get to break bread with them, talk to them about probably more than just sync licensing, really get to know them a little bit better. And of course, you're going to get front row seats in the room. So when we have our networking breaks and in between panels and all that good stuff, you're going to have front row access to all these library CEOs. Okay. So with that out of the way, let me go ahead and try to, if I can, get back to our other view here. So there's me again, and there's that. Let me get back to your questions. Probably gonna need to make this a lot bigger. Let's see if it pops up the right way. I don't know. Going back over here. How are we looking at? There we go. Okay. More or less, we're kind of in the ballpark there. So let me go ahead and go through some of these questions and see if I can help you guys out. All right, Jeff, since TuneSet only detects US and Europe, are there any other services that can detect other international placements? I am not aware of any. Maybe some of you guys know of other placement services other than TuneSet, but that's the biggest one that I know of. There might be new ones that have come on the scene lately. That's the only one that I'm aware of. Dark Rider, can you suggest best sites for starting sync music, mainly electronic music? And can I start music without registering the BMI or any other? Second question first. You don't have to register your tracks with BMI or ASCAP before you pitch to libraries. Usually, in fact, you're going to want to let them register your tracks for you when you get accepted. You just got to make sure you log in and ensure that they get it right, that they actually got your PRO information right, that they got your name right, and that you are showing up as a 100% writer if you were the 100% writer. But in terms of like you're talking about library recommendations, that is a much more complex topic for me to just say this company, because electronic music, there's so many different types of electronic music, right? And there's so many different types of content that can use different types of electronic music. I do have a video on my channel called How to Find Libraries 100% on Your Own. And you can go look up that. It's basically a Google search. You just type in production music library, TV film production music. There's a lot of different like combinations of keywords. You can find these 100% on your own if you want to, but that means you do need to do your own research, find out what kind of placements they get, who are their clients, listen to their music. Obviously, make sure that your tracks are on par with theirs. If your tracks are not there quality-wise, I wouldn't waste your time. I would make sure you wait until your tracks are really high quality and ready to go. We have a couple of services that can help you guys find those companies much faster. Number one is SyncEdge, syncedge.me. That's my library recommendation service. I basically take care of that research for you. So in that membership area, you'll get all the videos of each company we recommend. along with my analysis. So I show you their URL, I walk you through their placements, I show you who their clients are, I give you my analysis for like if I were to pitch to this music library, what kind of music that I think would be the best fit for them. We go listen to that music. I give you guys an analysis of the kind of music that they have, what kind of quality I think is good that I hear from them, what quality I think could be improved, and where you can kind of find a golden zone of opportunity where you're not just piling another 10 EDM tracks on top of 30,000. Doesn't put the odds in your favor, but maybe you can find a sort of section within there, maybe a hybrid of EDM and something else, or a type of EDM music that isn't oversaturated with them, but is also very relevant for their clients. So this is after 16 years in this business, kind of doing this and nothing else. You start to get good at this stuff, and you kind of learn, you recognize patterns, you start to understand how certain companies are operating. So it would be one thing I'd recommend, but of course we also have Sync Connect. I would definitely start with Sync Up though this weekend. If you want to, the one thing with Sync Connect is you're kind of getting on these monthly Zoom calls with library CEOs, which is obviously helpful, but you got to wait month after month to get to a new library CEO, right? We only schedule them essentially once a month, sometimes twice a month, but at least you're going to get once a month. But this Saturday, you'll get 7 library CEOs in the same room on the same day. Okay, so you're not going to get that anywhere else, basically. I can't think of one place where you're going to have that much access to that many different library CEOs all in one day at one place. Even if you're just streaming it virtually, learning from them directly, watching their panels, it's all going to be recorded. You can watch it afterwards if you want to. And then you get to decide, all right, which one of these library CEOs do I want to pitch to? Now you've got front row access to them. We've asked them questions, you know their personality and kind of know what they're focusing on. We're going to play each one of them some music from their catalog right there on the stream. So you can imagine I'm condensing Sync Edge and Sync Connect into one weekend. Like that's pretty much what you're getting, but you're getting 7x for your value, right, in one weekend. So I would highly recommend, if you are serious about partnering with a library, you take advantage of Sync Up. That is going to be probably one of the best things you can do for sure. And you don't have to wait that long. We're 5 days away, right? So very, very short timeline to wait to get that much access really quickly. So, where is it exactly? So I'm not giving out the name of the hotel publicly. We're going to keep it a little bit under lock and key, but it is extremely close to the LAX airport in Los Angeles, California. So if you're near the LA area, you can drive there, or if you've got the means to be able to fly there. It's so close you can walk to the hotel. That's what I'll say. We had many members last year that literally got off the plane, took their bag, walked to the hotel, and they were at the event. That's why I love this venue. You know, if we do it again next year, I don't know if we'll keep doing it at this event or at this hotel. But it was so convenient last year, and we had such a good time. It was so easy. And one thing that Trevor made this point to me last year when we had our event was like, most of us have been to various sync conferences and things like that. I don't know if this is something that you'll see anywhere else, because we have it all contained in one area, like in one hotel, where you basically are sleeping in the building, going downstairs, having breakfast in the building, having lunch in the building, walking to our conference room. Because it's kind of incestuous in a way, it's a fishbowl, and we're all bumping into each other. So the chances of you just bumping into a Trevor or a Mike or a Perry are infinitely higher in an event like this, because we're all just kind of hanging out in the same building for the weekend, right? So unlike what I see with other sync conferences, it's like it's a day event, right? And you show up, and sometimes the CEOs are kind of or the supervisors are guided in through the back door. They get on stage, they give their panel, and they get out of there and they leave. And it's really hard to create sort of like nice organic networking opportunities. This has been designed from the ground up to allow as much bumping into each other as we possibly can, including you guys that are going to be there in person. We're going to have a structured kind of mastermind networking opportunity on Saturday morning after my first presentation to allow you at the people at your desk. We're going to have these little round tables in the room to get to know the people right next to you, potentially create some friendships, some collaborations, some opportunities for you guys to work together. And it's going to be structured, so don't worry if you're a little bit socially shy or awkward around that. Don't worry about that. We're going to take care of that. I will sort of facilitate the conversations, tell you guys what topic I want you guys to be talking about, and it'll be very structured where you guys just go around the table and you guys sort of answer these questions and these prompts in the way that I give them to you. So it's going to be a really cool way for you guys to very quickly break the ice, get to know people around you, get to know these library CEOs, maybe potentially come have dinner with us if you want to upgrade your experience to do that. But regardless, I'll be there obviously Friday evening getting set up, but Saturday morning last year I was, around the room at like 7:38. And for like the hour and a half before the event even started, we were all networking and talking and hanging out. So that's all coming. And I'm glad that I am sort of working my voice up right now. You can hear it's starting to go out a little bit. But yeah, that's what this event is all about. It's about for you guys creating those great direct relationships and personal friendships and maybe working relationships that can last well beyond the weekend and into your future career. So, and I know that happened last year. It's going to continue this year. I know it. Adopted Son. I'm working on an EP to submit an exclusive library. It's pop and R&B songs. Would it be bad if I registered them with my PRO and submitted to Spotify before I send it to a library? Probably, Adopted. If you plan to primarily work with sync licensing libraries and publishers, a lot of them are not going to want your tracks to be on Spotify. So you kind of have to decide now. Not that you can't do some music that's exclusively with a library and some music that you put on Spotify, but for this album or an EP, I would decide right now or put some time into it before you make that decision on what do you really want. Do you want your music on Spotify? If that's the case, I would work more with a sync agent. I wouldn't work with a production music library. Chances are they're going to want exclusive distribution of it. They might be okay with you having it on Spotify, but a lot of them are not comfortable with that. So you just have to know that's a gamble. But if you were like primarily want your music to be on Spotify because you're trying to build a fan base, you want people to discover you in public or whatever, I would think more for sync agents and probably Sync Up. This is probably not an event for you. I'll be honest with you. This is really more an event for production music libraries, publishers. That's what we focus on. That's our specialty. Sync agents, I would say Sync Summit is probably a better, they have events. I don't know if he's still doing, Mark, the creator of it, I don't know if he's still doing in-person events. I know they do a lot of virtual stuff and there's a lot of listening sessions with supervisors. There's a lot of opportunities with Sync Summit, but we don't really mess so much with supervisors. We don't mess with sync agents so much. That's not really, it just hasn't been my path. I'm not saying I can't do well for people. My path has been working with people like Mike and Trevor and Perry, the production music libraries. So that's really what we're focusing on so much. Hey, Yele's here. Yele, I gave you a shout out earlier in the stream, man. I don't know if you caught that, but Yele will be a guest speaker and he's a really successful. Yele, can you let me know in the chat which publishers you're working with right now, or at least what music you've had distributed with some of the bigger publishers? Because I was trying to remember all of them that you had, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. If you don't mind sharing, I think it's just really cool that you came from somebody that had no relationships and connections in this business to now really having your music in sort of the biggest hands out there. So royalty free. Hey, a buddy attended a $1,000 sync webinar plus 1,000 more to get briefs. They show big sync checks and PRO statements much bigger than I've ever seen over 8 years. How is this possible? They say major network syncs. I'm not familiar. I don't know exactly. He did not sign up, by the way. I don't know. I don't know what that is or what they were showing you or anything like that. So sorry, I can't. I don't know if you're saying you don't believe that there's good money in this business. There is. There definitely is good money in this business. Now it doesn't come free, doesn't come easy, doesn't come fast. You guys all know that. But I sometimes need to probably check myself and not be so. Sometimes it feels like I'm down on our industry, right? Because I'm always saying like, hey, it's going to take a long time and very few people succeed and this and that. And I think I do that out of overabundance of caution of just getting you guys really prepared for the fight and the battle that's coming your way very, very soon. So, but I understand there are. Obviously, I got into this business, right? So there absolutely are windfalls you can come across. There are huge, I think that Major League Baseball placement I just received is probably going to be the biggest one I've ever had in terms of my royalties and how long I just, I'm praying that just stays on the air for as long as possible and they don't change out that theme song anytime soon. Just keep it there for 10 years, guys. But no, there's definitely money to be made in this business. I think. I don't know. Some of you guys have seen that already. Some have not. Probably most of you have not yet. But it's definitely out there. There are certainly some great opportunities here. Hey, Mono, do all libraries labels actively pitch tracks to their clients, or do some put them into a large library and wait to see if someone picks one? If some are more proactive, how can we tell which ones? It's a great question. So they basically do both. But you don't want to work with a library like. That's why for me, stock licensing hasn't been something I've wanted to focus too much on, because I'm sure there's some active pitching going on with the, A&Rs or the owners of stock licensing sites. But a lot of times you're just kind of an anonymous person putting music on their website. They don't know you. They don't really care about you, and I'm not saying they don't care about their composers, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not talking to you on the phone. You don't know they don't know that you have kids. They don't know that you have these goals in mind. They don't know your backstory, none of that kind of stuff, right? The libraries that I've worked with are people that I talk to on the phone and have Zoom calls with and text and email. So when they have an opportunity that's ripe for me, they pitch me because they are on my team and they care about me and I'm on their team, that kind of thing, right? So you do want to work with a library that obviously does do some pitching, but you also are going to work with libraries that will have a sort of buffet blanket license business model where they go to a production like a reality TV show and they say, hey, we want you to use our music, have access to all of our catalog. Either we'll charge you a one-time blanket fee to get access to that, we still collect the royalties, or we don't charge you at all and you get access to all of our catalog or a portion of our catalog. And then it is sort of like a buffet where your tracks are just kind of sitting there and they can come and pick them as needed, but not every single track is being pitched every single time. So it should be both. And how do you tell the difference? Well, that's the real part of the tricky part about this. You'll know that this weekend. I can tell you that. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep pitching this Sync Up thing. And that's why we created Sync Up. Looking at a website, you probably can't tell, right? Like, is this really people pitching music or is this just sort of a buffet thing or how are they really doing it? Sometimes you can't really get a good vibe on exactly where they focus on. This Saturday and Sunday, you can ask them. I'll ask them for you if you guys want me to. I'll ask them, hey, are you pitching? Is it more of a buffet thing? Are you doing blanket licenses? Is it one-off? How do you do that? If there are opportunities when you're pitching for your composers, why are you pitching for particular composers? Is there a relationship there? You just believe in their music? How often does that happen? How long did it take for those composers that you are pitching for to get into your inner circle where you develop that personal relationship where you want to pitch for them? How long does it take for that usually to happen? What would a composer who's working with you today, starting to submit to you today, what should they be doing to ensure they quickly get into that inner circle with you? This Saturday and Sunday, guys, that's what Sync Up is all about, is giving you guys a little less confusion, clearing out that sort of uncertainty and that fog of war of not knowing exactly who you should be partnering with and who you should trust. You could just ask them before you pitch to them, before you send your music to them. You'll learn all of that. And you can also, you get your one guarantee as a part of Sync Up, but let's say you pitch to one library CEO, they don't get back to you. That means you didn't get accepted by them. Yeah, it's going to be a bummer. You still got 6 other library CEOs that you know a lot about, and you can pitch to any of them afterwards. They have open submission policies. They all have either an email or a portal on their website, which they'll share on screen and on camera. And if you want to pitch them outside of Sync Up, you've got some sort of insider information that's going to be really valuable for you. I can't guarantee you they're going to listen because that's not what I've contracted them to do. I've only contracted them to listen to one submission. You can send a whole album if you want to. I would say at least have 3 to 5 tracks ready, though, to give them a little idea of what you can bring to the table. But I've only contracted it to listen to the members who buy a ticket or get a virtual ticket. So you get that guarantee with your experience with Sync Up, but have at it afterwards if you want to go a little bit further into pitching to these companies. You absolutely can do that. Mono saying he's in the UK, so my worry with Sync Up is a time zone. If I get to pitch to a CEO, what time of day would that be? I want to make sure I'm capable of being awake. Yeah, it's not going to be like a sort of 1 hour window where you have to pitch your music. How it's going to work is I'm going to send all of you that get a in-person or a virtual plus ticket the private link. It's all going to be sent online. All of our submission process is going to be sent 100% online to keep it very easy, clean, and just simple for the CEO. So we're not going to have any in-person pitching. If you guys are getting an in-person ticket, leave the USBs at home. You leave the CDs at home, if anybody still does CDs, and the business cards. You can send them to each other, give them to each other. I have told the CEOs they will not be pitched in person. I do not want them to feel swarmed, like they're being overwhelmed with a whole bunch of swag that they got to take home. Okay, so we will not allow that. That's not what Sync Up is going to have. If you do want to pitch to them, they know that there's going to be a submission portal that will be sent to them after the event. So basically, I'm going to give you guys a full week, starting from the morning of the event all the way until the Friday at like midnight after the event concludes. So basically, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way till midnight. That's going to be the submission window for you to submit one track to the library CEO of your choice, okay? So you can have a couple of tracks ready now. Maybe you hear something on Saturday or Sunday that makes you think, I need to change this a little bit to make it more ready for this library CEO. You'll have a full week to basically make those changes, adjust it, have your submission ready to go. And as long as you get it up there by midnight on Friday, I don't know what the day of which day in June that is. I will be sending all those tracks off to the library CEOs the following Monday. I'm going to clean them up, make sure everything's nice and clean, making sure we're not having duplicate submissions. If you try to submit to 2 different library CEOs, spoiler alert, I'm just going to delete all of your submissions. And no refunds, guys. There's no refunds on anything you purchase for this event, okay? I've had a few questions about that. I have to have this event built up with the budget that I get from our early bird ticket sales and everything else. So don't buy a ticket if you're wishy-washy. You're not really sure you can make it or not. Don't even bother, okay? commit to this or don't. That's kind of what we need you guys to do, is to make sure that you're going to be really, there or not, basically. So, but yeah, you'll have a full week to make your decision, and there's not going to be any sort of pressure. And if you do a virtual ticket, like you're over in the UK, we're recording everything, and it's all available for replay forever. You can get access to the 2-day replays for as long as you want. So the whole week, you can review it. You can go rewatch a panel from a CEO, and if there's something you missed or whatever, you want to just really, make sure you make the right decision on who you want to pitch to, you'll have the whole week to be able to do that. So that's going to be really cool. Okay, so Yele is with BMG, Warner Chappell, Extreme, Universal, and Position. Okay, I only share Position music with Yele, and I am envious that he has all the others. So if you want to learn how somebody who had 0 relationships came from his very, humble home studio in the middle of the Netherlands, and he's now working with some of the biggest publishers in this industry, including many if those are, if not all, are those all U.S. Based, Yele? I think they might be, actually. So if you guys want to learn about how Yele was able to pull that off, he's a guy you're going to want to basically meet, shake his hand, ask him questions. I will certainly be asking him a lot of questions myself. So is TuneEdge a good site if you have never had a placement? TuneEdge, is that a library? Hold on a second. Let me go check out. I think that is a library, right? And if it is, you're going to hate my answer. Let's see. Yeah, it's a, so I do not give just blanket, yeah, go use this company or go do this or go to, I don't do that, guys. So if you do want my expertise, you want me to give you recommendations or give you my comments on particular companies, there's only one way to do that. Well, I guess there's 3 ways to do that. One is SyncEdge. Those are the ones where I'm giving you my personal recommendations. These are usually boutique, smaller TV licensing firms that I can tell you, like, either thumbs up. Well, pretty much they're all going to be thumbs up. I'm not going to recommend anything that I think is suspicious or outdated or not really very impressive. So I'm only going to give you the highest quality stuff that I would be comfortable putting my music in. At least I can put it that way. Second is Sync Connect, but I think really this weekend Sync Up, our in-person event, our virtual event, is really what you guys need to do if you want to get some sort of insights for 7 different libraries literally in 48 hours. It's going to be a lot of information that you guys get access to very, very quickly. So sorry, can't give you specific recommendations on that company or thumbs up or thumbs down. So. Okay, I took a course on Sync, and one of the first and most important things you need to do is join a PRO and register your song. So I don't know which course you took, Cosmic Child. Yes, joining a PRO is yes. Definitely, I recommend BMI. You can do ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. Probably wouldn't accept you if you're new to the business. You're going to have to go, if you're in the US, I'm assuming you are, you're going to do BMI or ASCAP. The reason why you don't want to register your tracks is because libraries, once they accept your music, if you're going to work with libraries, they're going to want to register the tracks showing them as the publisher. So if you register them first, you might be creating a little bit of, it's not a huge problem, but you have to let them know that I've already registered these songs with these titles. They would have to go in and edit them. That might be just a little bit more of a problem, as opposed to just saying, you guys handle the registrations. I'll double check and make sure that you guys get that right, okay? If you are pitching to us a supervisor directly or something like that, or an agent, yes, you would probably need to register all of your tracks yourself because you're going to be acting as the publisher as well. But when you work with production music libraries, it's a different thing. So depending on which course you took or what avenue they were telling you, that might have been advice for a different approach in this business, but not for libraries. All right, Demetrio, as a music composer, better to focus on 1 or 2 genres or diversify to multi-genres? Does it even matter? Oh, absolutely. And that's such a great question. You better focus on 1, maybe 2, but really in the beginning, especially at the beginning, if you're thinking about getting involved with sync licensing, especially through libraries like I've been recommending what I did, 1, you really got to focus on 1 specific thing that you are great at. And I know everybody thinks that we're all great at so many different things and we're so excited about doing all these different genres. Forget about all that, especially in the beginning. You will eventually evolve and advance, and you'll start doing other licensing styles and that kind of thing. But especially in the first couple of years in this business, you need to brand yourself as the go-to guy or gal for your thing, for the one thing that you do. So definitely focus on 1, get really, really damn good at it, and go listen to what music is in production music catalogs. We're going to play them at Sync Up this weekend. Each library, I have asked them to supply us some links of some placements they've recently got and some of their favorite music in their catalog. So you'll get to hear on the stream or in person what the quality is that you're going to be up against. So you get to evaluate, all right, am I really ready for this company or am I not? And hopefully some of you guys will be inspired to really up your quality because you'll realize, wow, that's really good. I thought I was good, but I've got a little bit of work to do before I pitch to these libraries. And that's okay. It's actually better to be realistic about that rather than be delusional, sending your music off to, and I've heard these stories too, sending your music off to 20 companies, nobody's saying yes to you. And you think, well, they're just not giving me a shot. Maybe it's possible, but 20 companies, nobody getting back to you, probably it's you, right? It's probably your music. Maybe I shouldn't say it's you, but it's just the quality of your music just wasn't quite there yet. So I think it's really important and healthy to sort of get a healthy gauge on the quality of music if there's something that can be done to improve it. And yes, with your in-person ticket, you upgrade it, you can get that in-person feedback from literally Mike. And Yele will be one of the other pros. Yele, and we have other composers that are going to be part of these feedback sessions as well. In fact, if you guys do upgrade it, you're going to get a library CEO and an accomplished sync licensing producer. You're actually going to get 2 minds, 4 ears on your music, so you can get a lot of helpful feedback to know what do I need to do to take my music to that next level, even to get ready for their particular company. They'll let you know, hey, you need to change this, improve that, try this approach, and then submit it back. And the cool thing with this is that this is a weekend that's going to create a lot of warm leads for you guys, right? So you can now, after the weekend, reach out and say, hey, I was at Sync Up, I met you, we shook hands, or I was streaming the event and I saw you, I really appreciated your panel. So as opposed to just another composer just sending a cold email to somebody who they've never met, they don't know there's no connection to them, right? Saying that you were a part of Sync Up immediately puts you in a completely different category for them to open your email, listen to you, reply to you, all that kind of stuff, because there's now like a warm connection that you guys shared an experience in one way or another, right? So that's another benefit of it. Are programs like TuneTracks, Easy Keys, or Logic Player session players considered AI? Technically, yes, Andre. I think they would be, but how does a library feel about that? That would be my question, and that's what we're going to ask them this Saturday and Sunday. Are you guys cool? This is me talking to the library CEOs. Are you guys cool with us using Logic's new features to generate, bass lines, piano lines, drums, right? Are you guys cool with that? Would you rather us not use that? Why? Why not? And across the board on all the other things, if we're going to use, if we're going to write lyrics for some of our sync licensing tracks, are you cool with us using ChatGPT to write those? Or if we're going to swap our vocals out for a female vocalist with some AI technology, is that cool? Are you guys okay with that? Are you not okay with that? Are there certain types of tools that you're okay with? Or are you just sort of saying no to all of them? So again, if you want to know that before you pitch to these libraries, that's what this weekend's going to be about for sure. And then Demetrio, can you name the most important, maybe non-obvious ingredient to success in sync licensing and to sync business in your opinion? Yes. Easy answer for this one. Might not be what you want, but desperation. Sorry. Why is this popping up? Great question, Demetrio. You gotta need this more than you need anything else in your life. And the reason why I say it might seem a little bleak, but so many people are trying it, right? It's a dream job in many ways to be able to create music as your full-time income. So that means it's highly desirable. A lot of people are trying it, right? And because of that, and also just because of the nature of how slow this business is to get your royalties, like I just got that placement in March for my Major League Baseball theme placement. I'm not even thinking about royalties till summer of next year, okay? That's how slow this business is. You're not going to see anything quickly, okay? So if you need money now, that's why you got to be hungry for this. You got to be desperate for this. It's got to be something you want more than anything else, and you're willing to consistently show up. And you're willing to be humble. You're willing to serve. You're willing to take direction. You're willing to take notes. You're willing to say, okay, that one I didn't quite get right. I can do better. You're going to be willing to take some critiques from libraries. You got to get rejected. You got to get ignored. Basically, you got to get a baseball bat swung at your face multiple times in this industry while you have been kicked on the ground face first in the mud and with rocks and dirt all over you, okay? So if that sounds fun and you're ready for that, you got a good shot at succeeding at this. That's all I can really say, because there are various levels of talent. Talent makes a big difference, but I'm not the most talented, amazing, accomplished sync licensing composer, producer on planet Earth. In fact, most people at Sync Up are going to be more talented than me, having higher quality output, right? So that hasn't been the thing that allowed me to thrive and do well and create like a full-time focus and income out of this industry, right? I just kept showing up. I was a crazy, desperate, dumb enough person, however you want to frame it, that kept showing up. When I had disappointing royalty checks, when I had no royalty checks, when I got rejected, when, you know, the 20th custom gig that I thought was going to be the big thing that blow me up and, you know, get me into this next level of income, when those didn't happen, just kept trying, right? What kept me in the game through all that sort of stuff? This was it. It was like this, sink or bust. That was kind of where I was at. I had given up on trying to get jobs. I didn't want to work for anybody else. I didn't care what I did as long as I worked for myself. I did hustle, had some side gigs. I was doing some video work here and there. But that's pretty much it. You know, it's really desperation. It's about consistency. It's about showing up. And no matter what, you got to put your nose to the grindstone. You got to just keep working and working. So that might not be what you wanted to hear, because there's really no, you know, we're living in the world now. We're kind of looking for the quick tip. You know, what's the thing that'll blah, 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 blah. Man, if I had it, I'd tell it to you guys, but I really don't think there is a quick tip on this. It's just about, you know, ask Yele. Yele is somebody here who has been at it, what now, Yele, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. 2019, I think you started. You know, he's done amazingly well in terms of blowing up where his music is at and his placements and that kind of stuff. But Yele is committed. He's one of the few, you know, I've told you guys, it's like 3 to 5% of people that really have it, whatever that thing is, that I can see are going to thrive in this business. Yele's got it for sure. Now, whether or not he wants to keep going with Sync for the rest of his life, I don't know. You know, I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for him, but he's one of the few crazy, desperate, dedicated, whatever you want to call it. He's just working every day, every single day. I know Yele's in a studio cranking out tracks. So if you don't have that, you know, music can always be music. There's nothing wrong with music being a hobby and something that's just for fun and you enjoy it and it becomes your passion for life and all that kind of stuff. No problems and no criticism about that at all. No, and I think you guys, some of you, maybe that is the move for some of us to make. But of course, this channel, reason why I started it all is because it was this unknown up until, I think, 2020. But up until 2020, it was pretty unknown. Like nobody knew that you could do what I'm doing and make money with your music. Most people assume they're watching TV. They're like, oh, well, that's for the big artists. That's for like a Green Day. Like if you ever heard rock music on sports, you go like, nah, it's Green Day. They license Green Day music. I'm not Green Day, so I can't be in that business. And most people had no idea that there were production music libraries, publishers in this industry that literally were hosting music from people like me, no names, that had no notoriety, no public fame, nothing like that. But we were serving this industry with our music. So now the secret's out, cat's out of the bag. I think everybody knows at this point. But yeah, I that's why I started this channel to begin with, was to let you guys know, like, hey, this is an avenue. If you've ever thought about this, I accidentally stumbled into it after 4 years of going to college, and nobody, no professor, no colleague, nobody, no textbook ever once even mentioned the words sync licensing. Like I didn't even know that this was something that people could be thinking about. And I went and spent 4 years at my college learning about the recording business and the music business. Like that was my focus in college. Never even learned about it. So a lot of the stuff, it's like you just got to figure out for yourself. But hopefully with this channel, you don't have to so much. And now you know what's really ahead of you. It's hard. So listen to Yele. Music is the worst career move you could ever make. Hey, Melodrama. Jesse, what should I do if BMI missed a quarterly royalty statement for 10 days, but it says it occurred in my BMI account? I still don't see it in my royalty statement dashboard. So you're saying that BMI missed a placement, or you missed a quarterly statement? So you're missing the whole statement? Okay, if you're missing the whole statement, either way, actually, if it's a single placement or the whole statement, call BMI. They've got a phone number, call them, like, and blow them up. Do not let them get away with, oh, we're busy. I mean, today nobody's going to be in the office. I think we got a holiday, of course, but blow their phone up. Don't do email. Call them. They will respond, but you sometimes have to be the squeaky wheel. So it's your money at stake, man. That's your, that's your income. So don't let that get away and think that, oh, I don't want to bother them. No, bother the hell out of them. If you're missing money, you're missing a statement, or even a big placement that you have some indication that you got a placement, there was a cue sheet turned in, and you're missing a statement, yeah, get on the phone for sure. Glad to help, Dimitro. Glad that was cool. The statement, yeah, definitely call them. Melodrama, yeah, definitely could just call them if you're missing the whole statement. But you saying that there was like the BMI account is showing that there's a statement like in your dashboard? When you say it was in your account, I don't know what you mean by that. Where are you seeing a statement in your account but not on your dashboard? That part is kind of a mystery to me. Maybe it's an obvious thing, but I can't figure it out. How impressed are you guys that I have not mentioned the letters? I won't even mention them. I haven't really even talked I mean, we had that one little question, but we really haven't focused at all on the 2-letter boogeyman that everybody is losing their minds over. That's pretty cool that we haven't talked about it really at all in this session. And I intentionally did that, of course. I do want to occasionally get away from all the talk of the day. But if you guys enjoyed my Udio video, stay tuned. We got a follow-up. I won't give any more teasers away, but we found some more interesting things out of some generative AI companies that I think you guys are going to want to know. And I wonder if their investors are going to want to know as well. So stay tuned. This party's just getting started. Whoever thought that me starting this YouTube channel would turn into like a music journalist or a tech journalist? That's not what I thought I'd become. This is like what I'm becoming now. And if, by the way, for those of you guys that do play around with some generative AI model and find something interesting, email me. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy to expose this stuff and put videos out on it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's something that people probably want to see, especially the copyright holders of music that might sound like it's inside of some of these AI data sets that may or may not have been licensed or paid for. So if you guys ever like hear of anything or whatever, definitely send me an email. I'd love to. I don't, just let me know what you find. I'm an open book, and maybe I will become a sort of music tech journalist as a result of all this. Yes, senior digital marketing for SyncUp. Someone is speaking about starting your own sync library. That is Trevor of Get It Done Music. I'm not going to go switch all the video here, but basically, yeah, Trevor of Get It Done Music. You can just look him up, getitdonemusic.com. He started his company, I think it was 2018. Maybe it's 2018, 2019, something like that. So not too in a distant past, he started his entire sync licensing company, a publishing agency, and has done really well with that. So he's going to give us, and not only is he going to tell us like how he did his, but you know, even just in the last 5-6 years, the game has completely changed as a result of these new tools you can use to automate and streamline. One thing that Trevor really brings to the table, which you guys are going to get, I really admire him for this, is he's really good at creating systems that automate a lot of the work and allow people to collaborate in real time with each other so that he doesn't have to be involved with everything, right? So one of the things that overwhelms me about thinking about starting a library is I don't want to have to go manage artists. I don't want to manage metadata, alt mixes, contracts, schmoozing with the libraries. There's a lot of work, obviously, with a library. So that's one of the reasons why I never became one. But he's basically found some really amazing tools and resources to streamline most of that, make it automated, make it automatic, and allow and incentivize people to basically start collaborating and creating and finishing up projects on their own, without you having to be micromanaging and fixing everything. So he's going to share with us his tips for how to basically run a small company. It's kind of what you're doing, obviously, with multiple people. Even if you don't have employees, you might have a lot of independent contractors. You have your composers and producers submitting, all that kind of stuff. So how do you sort of streamline all that so you're not weighed down completely in all of the work, but you actually get to go further, basically just focusing more on, maybe establishing more clients or whatever you want to do. So yes, that's Trevor Llewellyn of Get It Done Music. He's going to give us a presentation Sunday right after lunch. It'll be the first presentation after our lunch. He's going to show you guys how to create your own library if you'd like to. Great question. All right. Hey, Lyra Long. How was the trip? Did you guys make it safely? Hopefully you guys did. Does the location of the composer producer matter? Do you mean in terms of working in the sync licensing business? Nope. Nobody cares. International opportunities and relationships happen all the time. You can be in the US partnering with a UK company. You can be in the UK partnering in the US, vice versa. You can be in India. You can be in South America, Africa. Nobody really cares, honestly. This is the new world where as long as you have an internet connection and you've got high quality music that you created, you didn't prompt, then yeah, you can absolutely do it. And same thing with the if you're asking about SyncUp, nope, you can, obviously if you can't travel, to be with us in Los Angeles this weekend, just stream it. You can stream it from anywhere. You don't have to stream it live if we're in a bad time zone for you. It's all recorded. You can watch it when you wake up. You can put it on 1.5 speed, 2.0 speed. You can get through the entire event really fast if you want to. Fast forward, rewind, skip parts that you don't find interesting or whatever. So absolutely, for either one. No, it doesn't matter if you are local or if you're international. So, oh, thank you, Cosmic Cloud. Appreciate that. Glad you guys are enjoying that. What's up, Pete? All right. Simple Fruits. Does Western libraries accept Mandarin lyrics? I can't search for mainland China's companies from Google. I bet, there's one company that I know that we've recommended in SyncEdge that's primarily an international music library. Like they specialize in international music. That would be probably the only company I have ever seen in many years in this business that probably would be open to something, but possible. I don't. It's an interesting idea of potentially trying to enter the Chinese TV film marketplace, doing that, and there might be a really good play there. I just don't think I can give you some helpful tips on that. Obviously, where China generally is not allowing a lot of our industry to go into their economy, that might be a risk trying to do that. I think for me, I would focus on marketplaces that are already established, that are already open to us, right? So the U.S. market is, of course, not one of the biggest ones. Europe is also big. There's many that are just open that we don't have to really worry about that. So there might be an opportunity, though, for sure. So I'm not saying it's not a bad idea, but it might not be the most licensable, as opposed to, let's say, like Spanish music, right? Latin music, that kind of thing. You probably find a lot more placements for that, especially in the Western Hemisphere, in the open markets, than Mandarin. Melodrama, a non-exclusive library informed you that 2 months ago that your track got placed on the Twister 4K DVD for a flat fee, but no back-end royalties. Is this normal? Twister 4K, is that a game or is that a movie? You're talking about Twister the movie? Let me know a little bit more about what that is, Melodrama, because I know there's a Twister movie, and I know they made a remake, right? I don't know if that went to DVD or not. But yeah, I mean, anything's like negotiable in this business. So I've had opportunities where I've just been given a one-time fee and no royalties. I've been other opportunities where I've gotten both the upfront fee and royalties. I've had other times where I've gotten no upfront fee and only royalties. So the movie, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, because DVDs are not tracked, right? So there's not going to be royalties for a DVD play because there's no technology that's connecting to a DVD player to say, hey, somebody played this DVD, this part of the DVD, which had your track. Let's say it was like the titles or something like that. There's nobody that can track how many times that was out there. So that sounds about right to me, that you would probably get a one-time fee for a DVD if it was just for the DVD. That sounds about right. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably have to get a little more specific or know some specifics to give you some helpful. So. Pete, did you see Dave Kropp's 52Q's post, how it showed some interesting data scraping regarding Studio? Yes, somebody actually texted that to me. It was really interesting. What I found about that, what sounds like, I think, if I'm getting it right, is that Dave had used, was it Suno? Yeah, I guess Suno. He prompted in, he was trying to get like a reference track or something. And for what, I didn't watch the stream, so I don't know exactly what he was trying to get, but he was trying to get a track out of Suno. And what it pumped out, I guess what he extracted from it was like a backing drum track or something like that. And then on his YouTube, where he was streaming it, that he got these copyright strikes, or basically these claims to say, hey, you use copyrighted music. And there were like 4 different publishers and libraries that were saying, hey, this is ours, this is ours, this is ours. And my interpretation of that is likely what might have happened. I don't know all the specifics, is that whoever used that drum track or whatever it was probably like a splice loop or just some pre-made loop. And so maybe 4 different composers used that same drum loop or whatever it was, if it was a drum loop, and put it into 4 different publishers. So when that drum loop was being played on the stream, 4 different publishers were like, hey, that's our drums. Those are our drums. No, those are our drums. And so this is one of these reasons why using splice loops is dangerous. And it's one of those reasons why I've told you guys to stay away from especially like full drum tracks. You need to make your own drums, at least have a kick, and a snare and a hi-hat and all that kind of stuff, and really get creative with all that. Because you could run into issues like this where you sort of have multiple people claiming the same thing, because none of those, it sounds like, maybe I'm totally off here, but it sounds like none of those composers created it themselves. If multiple publishers, could be an error, could be that just the same drum beat sounds a lot like 4 different independent tracks coincidentally. I just don't think that that's probably likely what happened there. But yeah, and then of course my bigger concern is like, hey, Suno, where did that track come from? Why does your AI model have access to that drum track that also has been used by 4 different people? Did you pay to license that? Again, I know that we don't have a sort of clear indication now legally whether or not they have to go get clearance for that, but it is certainly an interesting topic that I am certainly following, and we'll be putting out some more, as I said, interesting content around companies like Suno. So just stay tuned. That's all I can say. Hey, Mike, do you know anything about any of the rights that all the social media platforms like Meta, X, YouTube hold over the content of those platforms to use to train their models? Sorry. Yeah, no, it's a great question, Mike. I've been following that a little bit. There's been a rumor and a sort of indication in many ways that potentially OpenAI trained their Sora model and ChatGPT, the recent updates, potentially maybe off of YouTube and use the subtitles and basically everything they could take from that. There's an interview with the CEO of Google that said that would be a clear violation of their terms. Google definitely has the rights to train off of their own data. So me putting videos up on YouTube, I am implying and agreeing to they can train off of it. They can create a model off of it. Video, text, I'm imagining probably everything. That wouldn't be a big shocker to me that they're hosting the platform. They're making it free for everybody to upload, so they get the benefit of, training off of the data. If OpenAI is going over to Google and saying, all right, we'll take all that data too, and not asking for permission, that, according to the CEO of Google, that would have been a violation of their terms. He didn't have any other specifics to say, like if he thinks they've done it or not done it. He basically just kind of wrote it off as like, well, we've got a department of people that look into that. So, if we have something to say, we'll say it. But right now, no. So yeah, we are kind of in that sort of interesting place where the terms of service, all these various social media networks are really kind of playing out, and probably a lot of them are updating and figuring out how they want to sort of move forward with this as well. Because you think about it, what's the biggest advantage that Google has? Obviously, their AI. If you guys have been following their AI model stuff, they're not winning that race. Okay, their image generator failed pretty bad. They had to take it off the market. It was so bad. If you guys have been seeing all the funny memes of the AI summarizer, whatever they call it, where you search now on Google and once in a while you'll get an AI summary. Some of the responses, I haven't gotten one of these. I'm imagining they're probably rare and far and few between, but because they're so ridiculous, I mean, you got to just look them up. Just type in like Google AI search fails or something like that. You'll see some pretty funny ones. It's a PR nightmare, right? And they might have to actually unwind that as well fairly soon. It's not so much that a lot of people are getting these bad results, but the perception is sometimes more important than reality. And the AI image generator that they had also, most people probably weren't getting horrible results, but the perception of it being just a horrible image generator and overly corrective was kind of like, okay, you guys didn't take enough time with this. It just seems like it was sort of a rushed product and you guys did not take your time. So the perception actually impacted them more than the reality of what they're doing. So I think that was your question, basically. I don't know if I got that right. Yeah, so that was kind of a longer rant on it, but yeah, we're kind of figuring that all as we go, I think. So, and same thing, Melodrama. I don't give out particular reviews of sync libraries or anything like that unless you are in Sync Edge. That's where you can get those recommendations from me and my reviews of them. Okay. Is there no mechanical type royalty on DVDs like vinyls, CDs based on the sale price? Mechanicals. See, I'm not really good on mechanicals because in sync licensing, it's just never been something that I've ever dealt with at all. So I don't know. I would be talking out of turn and speaking out my rear end if I tried to say something intelligent about that. So that's a great point about mechanical royalties. Maybe there is something there, but yeah, but the performing rights royalties, no. But yeah, mechanicals, double check on that. Let's see, Wolfgang, how many tracks do I have in sync libraries? Total, I don't know the exact number, but it's around 1,000. If you add all the alt mixes and various versions of the tracks that can be placed, we're probably up to like 4,000 at this point. But original tracks that are like start to finish, it's the full song. We're probably up to around 1,000 in my career. So that's where I'm at. Most of it's instrumental. A handful of them are full tracks full songs with vocals, but not the vast majority. It's probably 80 to 90% instrumental. That's primarily where I've been focused in mine. Mike says there are tons of indie artists uploading music to promote themselves on these platforms, basically giving away our rights and then for them to train off of. Yeah, and that's the big debate right now, Mike, is just because it's publicly available, does that mean it's kind of available to train a for-profit model with AI? That's the big back and forth right now. You guys know my point of view on that. I'm saying, how many of you guys know that Suno just raised $125 million? You guys know that? That was it might have been the biggest or one of the biggest windfalls of investment in a music company like ever. Huge, right? To me, Suno is two things, okay? It's an AI model, which is very impressive and expensive to train, fine tune it and whatever, adjust the weights, blah, 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 build the tech, train the tech, really, really impressive, right? Other half of the equation is the data, right? This is what my skit that I put on my video the other day was trying to say is like, what can an AI model do with like zero data? So it's just an AI model sitting there, a neural net. It's expensive. It's thousands of GPUs, right? What can that do without any data? Like literally nothing. It's just a paperweight. It's just sitting there. It's just empty neural nets. It's not doing anything, right? This is dependent on the data. The data, if it's high quality, gives this value, right? So I think in this equation, 50% of Suno's value is their AI technology. 50%, maybe even more, because this doesn't do anything without this, is their data, is their music. So we, copyright holders, rights holders, right? I'm not Taylor Swift. I'm not Beyonce. I'm not trying to say I'm in the category of some of these mainstream artists. I am a copyright holder, and my copyrights have commercial value. They have proven to have commercial value over the course of my career. If these companies are building $125 million companies with their tech plus our creative work, labor, value, however you want to say it, I feel like we got to get cut in on that, right? And I feel like that's our job to say, you must cut us in on that. It's not their job. I'm not mad at Suno or Udio for trying to do this without asking for consent, if that's what they're doing, right? That's their job. Like they're trying to cut costs. They're trying to create something. If they don't have to go license and pay hundreds of thousands of musicians, we want to think like, oh, well, they should do the ethical thing. But come on, this is like a business, right? Some people act ethically, optionally, if they have the option to do it, but a lot of people don't, right? We'd probably make the case that most people probably don't. They probably just get away with as much as they can. So this is Udio, this is AI, this is Suno doing this is their job. Their job is to get as much as they can for as little as they can possibly pay. I expect them to do that. Not shocked, not mad, nothing of that. So that leaves us. What's our job? What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to go, I guess fair use. All right, take it. Some people are feeling that way. Like that's still kind of shocking to me. I'm still kind of not quite understanding. But some people are like, nope, because human beings train off of music. We can't be hypocrites and say that they have to pay us and get consent to train off of our music. So no, I can sort of see that side of the debate as well. I'm just personally saying this is the Wild West. And there are potentially millions or billions of new dollars of value springing up into action, new industries being prompted up. And a lot of it's being built on top of not just us music copyright holders, but a lot of intellectual property, video. You guys saw the whole Scarlett Johansson dust up, right? With all that kind of stuff. So there are massive industries that are blooming and growing and potentially obviously going to disrupt everything we do. Is there no room for copyright holders within that new paradigm? Like we can't be included in that. We have to be extracted from our value and our hard work and our labor and our talent and all the time, money, and effort that we put into our craft. That can't be licensed. Like we're the expendable part, right? But anyways, to me, it's just if it is the Wild West, which it sounds like it is, and they're just trying things to see if they can get away with it because we don't have clear legal standing. That's what it seems like they're doing. Why aren't we also jumping into the fray to say, all right, well, none of this is set in stone yet. There's no laws yet, right? And we might be updating our copyright laws very soon to make accommodations for this new technology. Why aren't we trying and fighting for ourselves to be included and to get consent? Like it's not even necessarily about the money. The money might be great for some of us, right? But a lot of artists, you talk to a lot of people, artists, creators, visual artists, video makers, Scarlett Johansson, a lot of us who have intellectual property or something of value, are not exactly thrilled that we're contributing to this without being asked. It's just how it feels, right? And the feeling is not nothing. It's actually something. So anyways, now I'm going into what I said I wasn't going to go into. So let's get out of there. The public trusts ChatGPT way more than they will trust Google. Yeah, for now. But there's definitely going to be some changes with that as well. OpenAI right now is in the PR department not doing good. They could be doing a lot better, I should say it that way. So their trust, and especially with Sam and the whole crew over there, for me, I'm speaking for myself. I was probably a little bit, I wasn't like trusting of them, but in the last 6 months, it's just like one story after another going like, okay, so you say that you want creators to be cut in on the upside and you want to create a thriving ecosystem for creative people, right? Sam says this on multiple podcasts in front of Senate, in front of the Congress, in fact. And then you see what happened with Scarlett Johansson. So don't listen to people's words, look at their actions. Their actions say it all, right? Is it okay to use glitching samples as ear candy? Sure, as long as you've got clearance to use those commercially. Absolutely. What type of licensing gives you royalties for life? Typically TV. Yeah. I mean, I have I have one track, at least I should say, in a movie that consistently gets me royalties. But yeah, primarily you're going to want to get TV. Think of Seinfeld, right? Think of how long that's been on the air. It's never been off the air. And there's constantly royalties coming in because it goes to the new networks, new territories over and over again. So yeah, TV kind of gives you most of that passive income. So Yelly saying you had mechanicals with DVD sales with Sync Music. I'm with BMI and MCPS in the UK. They're multiple. Okay, so that's out of my wheelhouse. So maybe Yelly knows a little bit more about that. All right, now we got a whole conversation about mechanicals. Really cool. So yeah, Carlos, always defend your job and right. Only idiots are getting that up without a fight. I mean, I don't want to disparage anybody that disagrees with me. It's like you feel free to feel however you want to feel, but I'm not going to apologize for feeling how I want to feel. And does Sync work for video games? Yes, but you're not going to get any royalties, at least for right now. Mike is one of these gentlemen that might be working on that in the very near future to try to help us get some royalties for that. But right now, you'll probably just get your upfront fee for video games. Probably the reason why I didn't get too far into that industry, wasn't really interested in it. But some Sync fees are probably really nice for that, to get a little licensing fee to get your track. Kind of a cool bragging right to have your track and maybe a big TV or a video game as well. But yeah, people can feel how they want to feel about like, hey, I don't care. You can train off my music all you want. It's totally fine. I respect people because that to me is the consensual. Yeah, that's how they feel about it. They're like, hey, I give consent. Or they feel like I don't even think I have to give consent. It's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. And I'm saying that's great. I respect your decision to want to say, I don't care. Train off my music. Do whatever you want. Totally cool. I'm trying to say that there's another side of this, which is a lot of us that are not feeling that we're super consensual about this, and we're trying to say, great, we want to also have the same sort of luxury to say, like, either we do consent or we don't consent, and because this is sort of a brand new era, we haven't gotten the clearance or the whatever you call the guidance from the courts yet on whether or not it's going to be acceptable or not. So music tips and reviews. How many music libraries should you use at one time? I would say 1 to 2 is probably all you need to, potentially 3. But if you really got great high quality relationships and they're constantly looking for new music from you, anything more than 2 or 3, you'll probably overwhelm yourself and not be able to keep up with all of them. Yele might be the exception to that. Yele is a beast and he's just constantly working. But if you've got like, a job, family, whatever, other obligations where you have other things you need to be doing during the day, probably 1 to 2 is where you should get started. I got started with 1 for about 2 or 3 years. I was just with 1. And then I branched out and started working with a second one. And then it was just 2 for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 more years after that. And then eventually a few more kind of came on. And you will have some libraries that go out of business, get cold on you. They're not really actively pitching anymore. So don't get so married to any one company. They will eventually all disappoint you. That's kind of what I want to say. So never be so tied to any one. Just know that it's not the end of your career if one company you're working with sort of gets stale and doesn't really pitch you anymore and whatever, they kind of lose interest in it. It happens. But that's why you want to basically have 2 so that you can kind of A/B compare, especially in the first couple of years, which company is really doing better for you, getting you better results, all that good stuff. So, yeah. JMO saying he's digging the trailer placements, huge upfronts, and no AI interference. I'm not sure about that, JMO. AI is going to do trailer music. Guarantee you guys, AI is going to do trailer music. Probably within the year, next year. Why do we not think AI is going to do trailer music? Whether or not that'll be used by trailers, yeah, that might be a better argument for sure. But for lower budget stuff, yeah, definitely it's going to be having. So, how many pages was your last statement of BMI? I believe, it's funny, I actually looked at that the other day. I think it was 275 pages last time, which is, I think, in one of the longest ones I've had. I might have had longer, I don't know. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. I'm done. I got to go back home. Got to hang with the kids for just a little bit today. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic Memorial Day. Maybe a day off, hopefully, or maybe a productive day. You guys are working on some music. So last little pitch, Sync Up this Saturday. Okay. It's going to probably change next year. I want to keep doing this, obviously, but we are going to probably make some changes next year. So this might be one of the last years where it looks and feels like it does this year in terms of having 7 library CEOs in the same room, having the premium dinner, having it all in one place. So I can't make any promises, or I'm not saying I'm going to like ditch it next year or whatever, but there's definitely a reason why we're going to probably rethink this. moving forward. So take advantage of this. This is definitely going to be one of those weekends that you will absolutely be thankful that you participated with. It's absolutely going to be worth your time and money. I can guarantee you that. If you come in person, you're going to get like a 12 out of 10 experience. That was the feedback I got last year. Get a virtual experience. You're definitely going to get your money's worth, and you're definitely going to learn a lot. But if you can come in person, anyway, make that possible. It will be a memorable weekend for sure for you to not only potentially open the door for a new CEO, but also make connections and relationships and meet people face to face and start partnering and producing some really great high quality music. And I guarantee you will feel excited and motivated by the end of it. Most people who came last year felt like it was like I remember one of our reviews, he said that he felt like he could make music for like a week without sleeping. He was so on fire for the creative process, learned so much, was so inspired. And that's really the biggest, reason why we're doing this kind of thing, is to try to inject more fun and excitement and joy into our world, because you guys know we're all kind of isolated in our own little home pod. So you don't have to be isolated though this weekend. This is going to be a great time for you guys to hang with us and connect. So thank you guys so much for hearing me out, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Tomorrow, come back, 8:30 a.m. Mike, who might be still here, is going to be joining me. So if you want to hear directly from Mike, who is a music editor, who is a library owner, a composer himself, working on some new tech, and you want to find out the latest on what's happening in this space, especially with AI and music and what we're going to be talking about at Sync Up, come back here tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to have him here on a Zoom call, and it'll be another live hangout where we can take your questions. So if you guys have any questions for somebody like Mike, he'll be free to answer you guys. We'll probably go for about an hour. We'll see. So it'll be a really, really good time. And I think every day this morning, I'll be going live for about an hour to warm up the old vocal cords. So we're excited. Hopefully get to meet some of you guys this weekend. And if not, please stream it and come virtually if you can. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all real soon.